you ever noticed that some cars seem to age forward, while others feel like they age backward? The more time passes, the more sense they make. The Aston Martin Lagonda is exactly that kind of car, a project that was mocked when it was born, seen as exaggerated, unreliable and even ugly by many, but that today feels almost prophetic, as if Aston Martin looked decades ahead and completely ignored the present. This is not just a strange car, it is a perfect example of what happens when ambition runs faster than the technology available at the time. To understand the Lagonda, you need to place yourself mentally in the 1970s, a period marked by fear, uncertainty and restraint in the automotive industry. The oil crisis had brutally slowed down ambitious projects. Cars were becoming smaller, slower, simpler and much more conservative. While traditional brands were trying to survive by cutting costs and playing it safe, Aston Martin decided to do the exact opposite, creating a massive, flashy, technological and extremely expensive sedan, something that looked like commercial suicide but was actually a bold statement. The Lagonda design was not made to please anyone. It was made to shock: aggressive straight lines, long proportions, a low and sharp front end, a truncated rear and a silhouette that looked like it was drawn with a ruler instead of curves. At a time when luxury was still associated with softness and classic elegance, the Lagonda looked cold and almost hostile, like an architectural object on wheels. Even today it feels strange, and that is exactly what makes it unforgettable, because there is nothing truly like it before or after. But the real leap into the unknown was not on the outside, it was inside the car, because Aston Martin decided the Lagonda would be a rolling technology laboratory. A fully digital dashboard was almost unimaginable for a production car at that time. Electronic displays replacing needles, information shown through LEDs, touch-sensitive controls, and an interior experience that felt more like an experimental aircraft cockpit than a luxury sedan. It was the future trying to be born in a world that barely understood basic electronics. And as expected, all of that came with consequences. The technology was simply not mature enough. Systems failed, displays went dark, sensors malfunctioned, and the car earned a reputation for being temperamental. Owners reported that driving a Lagonda could be unpredictable. Sometimes everything worked perfectly, sometimes it felt like the car was fighting its own driver. Even with all those issues, Aston Martin never tried to make the Lagonda normal, because it was not meant to be reliable, it was meant to be visionary. Under all that futuristic electronics there was a completely analog and brutal heart, a large, powerful and thirsty V8 engine that made sure everyone remembered this was still a true Aston Martin. That contrast between a digital interior and a classic engine created a unique personality, as if the car was split between two worlds, one foot in the past and the other desperately trying to reach the future. The Lagonda did not want to be a sports car, but it also refused to be just comfortable. It wanted to dominate the road in its own way. Interestingly, the Lagonda found its true audience far from Europe, especially in the Middle East, where exclusivity and extravagance have always held a different kind of value. Sheiks and millionaires saw something in the Lagonda that few others did, a car that looked like nothing else, that demanded attention effortlessly and symbolized power through rarity. Many of these cars received extreme customizations, even more luxurious interiors, exotic materials and unique configurations, turning the Lagonda into a futuristic jewel made to order. Over time, the Lagonda ended up stuck in a historical limbo. It did not become an obvious classic, it did not turn into a mainstream icon, and it was never fully forgotten either. It became a silent reference, one of those projects you only truly understand when you look back and realize how much it influenced ideas that today feel normal. Digital dashboards, electronic interfaces, technology-focused interiors, and futuristic experiences are standard now, but the Lagonda tried to do all of that when the world was not ready. What makes this story even more interesting is realizing that the Lagonda did not fail because it lacked vision. It failed because it arrived too early, and that might be the cruelest way to fail. It was criticized for things that are now considered strengths, called excessive for daring too much and labeled problematic for relying on technologies that were still in their infancy. Without projects like this, the industry would never move forward, because progress almost always comes from mistakes. Today, looking at an Aston Martin Lagonda feels like looking at a warning from the past, a reminder that the future does not ask for permission to arrive, it simply shows up, even when no one is ready. The Lagonda is not an easy car to love, but it is impossible to ignore. because it represents a rare moment when someone chose to ignore the present and bet everything on a future that did not exist yet. In the end, the Lagonda is more than just a strange Aston Martin. It is proof that real innovation does not come from comfort. It comes from risk, boldness, and the willingness to fail while chasing something big. And that is exactly why it remains fascinating today. Because it does not tell the story of just one car, it tells the story of a future that tried to arrive too early. And if you enjoy this kind of content about the history, technology, and hidden stories of the automotive world, make sure to follow Hidden Speed so you do not miss the next videos. Here, passion for cars goes far beyond the steering wheel.